diet orders, dietary thickeners, dysphagia diets, refrigerator and freezer rules, checking milk expiration, gloves, food temperatures, eating plans, and sanitary issues. Thickening liquids. People who have difficulty swallowing thin liquids often must drink thickened liquids. Thickened liquids can help prevent choking and stop fluid from entering the lungs.
3 consistencies of thickened liquids are nectar-thick liquids, which are easily pourable and are comparable to apricot nectar or thicker cream soups. Honey-thick liquids, slightly thicker, are less pourable and drizzle from a cup or a bowl. Pudding or spoon-thick liquids hold their shape, they're not pourable, and are usually eaten with a spoon.
Always mix thickener according to manufacturer recommendations. Measure both the liquid and the thickener. Use the small scoop provided inside the powder container to measure the proper amount. Use a 4 or 8 ounce glass only. Place the powder in the glass first. Pour the liquid in the glass last. Stir 20 to 30 seconds to dissolve the powder. Wait 5 minutes for a 4 ounce glass and 8 minutes for an 8 ounce glass before testing. You may have to wait an additional 1 to 2 minutes depending on the liquid you are thickening. Do not add more powder to the glass. Leveling measurements. Use a flat scrape or knife to rake across the top of the measuring scoop to make the measurement level.
In thickening liquids, you need to pay attention to how many scoops per however much amount of fluid you need to thicken. For 4 ounces to make nectar, you need 1 scoop. For honey, you need 2 scoops. For pudding, you need 3 scoops. For 8 ounces of water, you'll just double that. 2 scoops for nectar, 4 scoops for honey, and 6 scoops for pudding.
Any food item that turns to liquid when left at room temperature or melts in your mouth needs to be thickened prior to feeding. For a 2-inch square of Jell-O, place Jell-O in a bowl and warm in the microwave for 20 seconds. Add the liquid to 4 level scoops of thickener and stir to make pudding consistency. For 4 ounces of ice cream, place ice cream in a bowl and warm in the microwave for 10 seconds. Add the liquid to 3 level scoops of thickener and stir to make pudding consistency. Thickening watermelon. Put the desired amount of watermelon in a blender or mash it in a bowl to make liquid. Add the liquid to the correct amount of thickener to obtain the desired consistency before serving. Diet substitutions. If individuals do not like what is being served at mealtime, you may substitute other items as long as it's in accordance with their diet. Some items for substitution that are readily available are sandwich, meat or cheese, Pop-Tarts cereal, single-service blended foods, cottage cheese, and fruit. Don't forget all substitutions must be in accordance with the diet guidelines for each individual.
Our individuals' diets are a function of the team process resulting in a physician's order described by the CHDC dietitian. There are a variety of diets on the surface. They may appear overwhelming, but with careful study and experience, they are not too difficult to follow. We have examples for your review, and we'll spend a little time now describing them.
To help readily identify specific foods that belong to individual diets, we have developed a 3-letter label code system. The label codes have been conveniently placed on the code page, which is located in the kitchen of every living unit on CHDC campus. To understand this code page is simple. Each specific diet is highlighted in yellow. The different textures of the highlighted diet, such as diced, chopped, or blended, are listed just below the highlighted diet. The 3-letter code that matches each diet and diet texture is placed just to the right of each diet. Most diets on the code page are broken down into 2 categories, meats and others. Meats are exactly what it suggests, meat. Others are vegetables, fruit, and desserts. The highlighted diets and their label code from the code page are also listed at the top of the daily menu you use to feed our residents here at CHDC. When you locate the diet name and code at the top of the daily menu, you will see every food item that belongs to the specific diet for breakfast, lunch, or supper for that specific day. This is how you know what specific food item goes with each diet when you read the menu. The label codes are printed on food labels, and these labels are placed on the food pans that are prepared at the CHDC main kitchen and shipped to the living unit. The food codes on the food pans for specific food items match the items listed for the diets on the daily menu you use to serve our clients. Make sure to have the menu, code page, and diet supplement sheet. You will be introduced to these forms in the living unit. Visibly out and use them during meal service. This information and process may seem a little overwhelming right now, but it will become second nature with just a little practice.
Diet orders must be approved by the physician and can only be changed by the physician. This means every meal, every snack, every med pass, every day of the week, every holiday, every outing, every summer camp, every family visit, every time individual eats, every time individual drinks, no exceptions. If the drink or pureed food is not thick enough, add the appropriate amount to thickener and stir. Let it stand for 5 minutes to reach desired thickness. If you add milk or ensure to a food such as oatmeal, grits, cream of wheat, cake, cookies, etc., thicken the liquid first, then mix into other food before feeding. Refrigerator and freezer rules. Items kept in the home refrigerator or freezer must be covered, labeled, and dated. All food items must be properly sealed in containers. No open or exposed food items are to be kept in the refrigerator or freezer. Example, all meats and cheeses must be concealed or stored in a Ziploc bag, dated and labeled.
Refrigerator and freezer rules. Refrigerator temperatures are to be checked daily, and the temperature should be between 35 and 40 degrees and below. Freezer temperatures are to be 0 degrees or below. Temperature documentation sheets are turned into Dietary Monthly. Eggs are always kept in the lowest crisper to prevent cross-contamination. Eggs come in contact with the inside of a chicken.
Milk expiration dates. Check the milk expiration date daily and document your daily check date on the temperature sheet provided. Milk that has been delivered most recently will be the last used. Always use milk that is older first. Never serve milk dated past the best if used by date. When checking the milk expiration date, the documentation sheet will include checking to assure there is no exposed food items in the refrigerator. Any items found in the refrigerator will be discarded.
Conway Human Development Center temperature documentation for residences. Please send to the Dietetics Department at the end of each month. Please notify the Dietetics Department if a problem arises or the temperature is not accurate. The temperature must be documented once each day. An example would be residence 29 Cedar. Document the current month and year, the date that you checked the milk, and either yes or no that you found any exposed food. Enter the refrigerator temp. It should be at or below 41 degrees. The freezer temperature should be 0 degrees or below. And enter your signature, title, and date.
When completing food and liquid intake documentation after a meal or snack, make sure when documenting fluid intake that you document in ounces. If a resident does not drink as much as they are served, place an asterisk in the box next to the number of ounces they drank. This applies to the meal intake documentation and the snack intake documentation. The residential care supervisor or designee will check the dietary supplement sheet for accuracy, completion, and for any concerns regarding the resident's intake daily, and sign their name and initial daily on the sheet indicating that the review was completed. The residential care supervisor will bring the dietary supplement sheets for each resident to the Quality Assurance Subcommittee, QASC, meeting daily, Monday through Friday, where they will be reviewed again for accuracy, completion, and any concerns. The documentation sheets are reviewed at QASC. If a resident has an asterisk in any of the fluid drank boxes for 3 consecutive days, the team RN will assess to ensure fluid intake is adequate and assess for any possible medical issues. The team RN will document on a practitioner progress note and route as appropriate depending on the resident's needs.
Food temperatures. Hot foods should be kept between 140 to 155 degrees. Cold foods should be kept between 35 and 40 degrees and below. Prior to food arrival, plug in the steam table. It must be plugged in at 5:30 a.m. for breakfast, 10:30 a.m. for lunch, and 3:30 p.m. for dinner. Make sure the spout at the bottom of each well is closed. Add enough water in all wells to be an inch higher than the wire rack. The water must be in contact with the base of the pans. Turn the knobs on. The setting will depend on the temperature of the food when it arrives. If not quite hot enough, turn the knob to high. If very hot, turn down. If it's just right, place the knob in the middle. Do not leave the knob off if the food is too hot, because you will forget to turn it on, and the food temperature will drop fast. It's your responsibility to adjust the temperature correctly and ensure that the food is kept at the correct serving temperature.
Steam table setup. When setting up the steam table, staff make sure that the water level in the table is adequate. The water level should be just above the top of the wire rack and the bottom of the table so that the food pans are sitting in the water. Food temperatures. When checking food temperatures, remove the food thermometer from the protective cover. Insert the thermometer through the full covering on the pan. Assure that the food temperature is the proper serving temperature before fixing a resident's plate. Document the food temperatures. If the food does cool down below the proper serving temperature, reheat the food in the microwave and check to make sure the food is the right temperature before serving. Remove from the microwave and verify that the food is at the correct serving temperature before serving the resident.
To help assure proper serving temperatures, staff are not to fix the resident's plate until the resident is ready to be served. Do not fix a plate and let it sit on the counter. Fix the plate and take it directly to the resident. Active treatment during food service. Residents should be involved in food service to the level possible for that resident. Assist the resident as needed, but let them do as much as they can for themselves.
Storage of leftover food. All leftovers are to be stored immediately after meals. They must be covered, labeled, and dated. They cannot be stored in any container more than 2 inches deep due to not being able to cool down sufficiently. All leftover food from the kitchen is to be disposed of after 24 hours. Eating plans are located in all the residences, training areas, speech and medical records. All staff are required to be in service on eating plans before assisting individuals with meals and must sign off on the training in-service sheets attached to the eating plans. All individuals, with the exception of those who receive all nourishment by tube, have eating plans. Each residence has a book with pictures of adaptive eating equipment. Thin liquids are regular liquids with no thickening agent added. Each residence has a bread cutter, which is to be used rather than tearing bread into pieces.
Serving size of food portions. Serving sizes in ounces per food item are noted on the menus in the residences. General rules for regular diets are 6 to 8 ounces per meal for casserole soups and combination foods. Serving utensil handle is black for 6 ounces, blue for 8 ounces. 4 ounces per meal for vegetables and fruit. Serving utensil handle is green. 2 to 4 ounces per meal for meats. Serving utensil handle is red for 2 ounce, green for 4 ounce. 2 ounces typically used for sauces, gravies, condiments, etc. It may be used for blended bread. Hot or cold cereal will dispense just 3/4 cup or 6 ounces. Be sure and see menus for specifics regarding special diets.
Other dietary concerns. Clothing protectors are not to be placed under an individual's plate.
All residents should be offered second servings unless their diet plan specifies that they get no seconds, or they have a calorie-controlled diet or their own weight maintenance diet. All individuals need lots of activity, especially walking and exercise, for their physical and mental health. Preventative choking measures. During mealtimes, all staff are to be engaged in mealtime activities unless they are engaged in the care of other residents that are not in the kitchen or dining area. All residents should be under constant supervision during mealtime, and staff should be prepared for choking incidents. Staff are not to use this time for breaks, paperwork, cleaning tasks, or other tasks that do not involve either the current meal or care of the residents. Redirect residents that are playing, talking, or laughing back to their meal to prevent choking and encourage appropriate table manners. Keep dangerous items and food items that are not on the resident's diet plan out of reach. All instances of people accessing or stealing and or eating food without staff supervision need to be documented on a behavior report. Staff should never leave a resident unattended during mealtime in the residence.
Hand hygiene. It is the single most important measure in infection control. Hand hygiene. Hands will be washed immediately upon entering the kitchen and before starting food service. During food service, hands must be washed immediately after touching unsanitary items such as trash containers. Hands must be washed before staff handle any clean dishes, cups, glasses, serving utensils, or silverware. How to wash your hands properly. Before you start, roll down enough paper towels to dry your hands after you wash so you can avoid recontaminating them by touching the paper towel dispenser. Wet your hands with running water and apply soap. Rub your hands together to make a lather. Scrub well for at least 20 seconds. Pay special attention to your wrists, the backs of your hands, between your fingers, and under your fingernails. Rinse your hands well under running water. Use a clean towel to dry your hands or air dry your hands. You may want to leave the water running while you dry your hands on a paper towel. Then use the paper towel as a barrier between the faucet and your clean hands when you turn off the water. Sanitary issues in food service. Facial and hair on your head must be covered when doing food service. 1. Dishes, glasses, utensils are to be washed in detergent with hot water. 2. Sanitized in bleach water solution. 1 part bleach to 100 parts water. 3. Rinse thoroughly after 2 minutes. Must air dry on a clean surface. 4. All dishes and glasses must be stored inverted, upside down.
Infection control, ensuring sanitary environment and preventing cross-contamination. Plastic gloves will be used when directly handling food. Hands will be washed upon entering the kitchen and before starting food service. Staff do not need to wear plastic gloves to check food, count out trays, get glasses, or when performing other preparation tasks. Gloves will be worn when touching food directly, such as picking up a piece of bread, luncheon meat, etc. Staff should change their gloves if they come in contact with other non-food items, such as surfaces that can contaminate the gloves before touching food again.
Sanitizing dishes and eating utensils. Sanitizing dishes and eating utensils. To sanitize dishes and eating utensils, you would use the 1-gallon jugs provided in the residence. Fill the 1-gallon jug to the bottom of the ridge at the top of the container. This will be the 1-gallon mark. Pour 3 full gallons into the sink. Measure the bleach in a 4-ounce cup. Fill the cup to the top ring. Pour the bleach into the water. Place items ready to be sanitized into the bleach water solution. After placing the items into the solution, set the kitchen timer to 2 minutes. This is the minimum amount of time the items have to soak. After soaking the dishes for at least 2 minutes, the dishes have to be thoroughly rinsed before they are allowed to air dry. If you have a dishwasher in the residence, the dishwasher will sanitize the eating utensils. However, if you have adaptive equipment that will not fit into the dishwasher, it will have to be sanitized in bleach water. Staff should assure that the correct amount of dishwashing liquid is placed in the dishwasher before starting the dishwashing cycle.
After viewing this presentation, please complete the post-test and turn that in to your supervisor. A score of 80% is required. Thank you.